Want to get rich. Then let me tell you something almost no one says right at the beginning, because it's not pretty, it's not motivational, and it doesn't turn into a catchy quote. Getting rich doesn't start when you make more money. It starts when you stop repeating decisions that keep you poor without you even realizing it, because most people aren't poor because of bad luck. They're poor by default. By repeating the same kinds of choices every month, thinking the problem is their salary. And maybe this hurts a little too here, but if it hurts, it's because it's true. Because if making more money solved everything, everyone who's ever gotten a raise would be fine today. And they're not. What actually happens is something else. The person earns more, breathes a sigh of relief for a few months, improves life a little, fixes one issue here, another there, feels like now it's finally going to work, and then ends up right back in the exact same feeling of tightness, just with bigger bills, longer commitments, and an even greater fear of losing everything. That happens because the problem was never how much money comes in. The problem has always been how that money is used, and more importantly, how decisions are made when the money arrives. Most people don't decide, they react. The money comes in and they react by improving their life, compensating for suffering, buying a little immediate peace, and that creates a cycle that looks like progress, but is really just a more expensive version of the same survival. So if you want to get rich, the first thing you need to start doing now is stop living as if your financial life resets every month. This is one of the biggest invisible mistakes. The paycheck comes in, the bills go out, the month ends, and it feels like nothing was left behind. No real progress, no solid construction. Just organized survival. As long as you live like this, it doesn't matter how much you earn. Always depend on the next paycheck to breathe. This model is exhausting, mentally and emotionally, because you never feel like you're moving forward. You work, pay, survive, repeat. Work, pay, survive, repeat. And deep down, a quiet sense of failure starts to appear. Even when you read doing everything right. That feeling doesn't come from a lack of effort. It comes from a lack of accumulation. What does that mean in practice? It means you need to stop making decisions thinking only about now. It's no longer, can I afford this month? That question is way too small. The question becomes, does this trap me or free me in the future? Because every financial decision either gives you more options down the road or takes options away from you. There is no middle ground. And wealth, at its core, isn't about showing off. It's about options. It's about being able to choose. People with options sleep better. People with options negotiate better. People with options don't accept just anything out of fear. And people without options always live with the feeling that any mistake could destroy everything. That's the real difference between those who build wealth and those who always live on the edge. Want to get rich? Then start now by reducing everything that makes you fragile. Financial fragility isn't just a lack of money. It's living a way where any unexpected event turns into desperation. A flat tire becomes a crisis. A delay becomes panic. An illness becomes chaos. As long as your life is fragile, you'll live in defense mode. And no one builds wealth while constantly defending themselves. Living in defense mode means making bad decisions under pressure. It means accepting high interest because you need to fix things fast. It means accepting bad terms because you can't wait. It means working too much without thinking, just to plug holes. This constant state of urgency destroys your ability to think long term. So what you need to do is create slack. Slack in money, slack in chimi, slack mentally. This isn't luxury. It's strategy. Rich people don't rely on perfect months. They build a life that can handle bad months. They assume unexpected things will happen and prepare for that. If today you need everything to go right just to survive, you're playing a game you can't win. Because life doesn't work that way. Something always goes wrong. Something always shows up outside the plan. The difference is how that affects you. For some people, it's just an inconvenience. For others, it's a disaster. Another thing you need to start doing now is separating money from emotion. Here's a point that destroys more futures than any bad investment. Most people use money as emotional anesthesia. They work all week, feel tired, frustrated, treated unfairly, undervalued, and use spending as a reward. I deserve it, and you do deserve rest. You deserve pleasure. You deserve relief. But you don't deserve to destroy your own future to feel that the problem isn't spending. The problem is spending to escape your own life. Every time you buy something to relieve an emotion, you're teaching your brain that spending is an emotional solution. And that's extremely dangerous because emotions always come back. And each time they come back asking for a bigger spend. The relief is immediate, but the consequence is silent. The next month, the bill arrives, and with it come guilt, frustration, anxiety, and the feeling that nothing ever changes. The person doesn't understand why they work so hard and always stay in the same place. But the answer is in those small emotional expenses repeated over time. Anyone who learns to tolerate discomfort without spending gains a huge long-term advantage, not because they become cold or unhappy, but because they learn to deal with their own life without needing to buy anesthesia all the time. Want to get rich. Then start now by enduring small frustrations without trying to fix them with consumption. Got home tired? Rest. Feeling irritated? Wait. Bored? Sit with the boredom. It sounds simple, but almost no one can do it. And that's exactly why almost no one gets rich. We live in a time where any discomfort becomes a reason to spend. And those who don't notice this spend their entire lives trading future freedom for immediate comfort. It's an invisible trade, but a very expensive one. Another essential thing is to start treating every financial decision as a silent vote. A vote for the kind of life you're building. There's no neutral spending. Every choice points in a direction. An impulsive expense today is a vote for a financially short life. A hard decision today is a vote for a wider life tomorrow. The problem is that no one feels this in the moment. In the moment, it feels small. It feels irrelevant. But money works through accumulation. What destroys you isn't one isolated bad decision. It's the constant repetition of small decisions in the wrong direction. If you want to get rich, you need to stop confusing effort with progress. Working hard guarantees nothing but exhaustion if you're in a model that dies the moment you stop. Some people work themselves to death and stay in exactly the same place. Not because they're incompetent, but because they're stuck in a system that doesn't accumulate anything. So you need to start asking an uncomfortable question. If I stop working, does the money stop completely? If yes, that's not a plan. That's survival. People who get rich build things that keep existing even when they're not present. That doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with awareness. That could be a rare skill, knowledge that increases in value, a side income, something that grows over time. You don't need to change everything today. You need to start today because time will pass anyway. And in a few years, you'll either be harvesting something or regretting not having started. Want to get rich? Then start now by controlling your lifestyle intelligently. Every time you increase your fixed costs, you create a new prison. More bills, more fear, more dependence. Rich people are extremely careful before raising their standard of living. They know freedom doesn't come from spending more. It comes from needing less. That means delaying upgrades, delaying the better car, the expense that impresses, the decision that exists only to keep up appearances. Not forever, until you have structure. Those who raise their lifestyle too early spend their entire lives working to maintain things, not to build freedom. Another thing you need to start doing now is treating any increase in income as a tool, not a prize. When more money comes in, the automatic reaction is to improve your life. People who build wealth hold back a little longer. They observe. They wait. They use that money to reduce risk, build reserves, and invest in future growth. Those who celebrate too early give up the advantage before it turns into something solid, and then wonder why they never get anywhere. Want to get rich? Then start now by learning to fail better. Failure is part of the process. What destroys people isn't failing, it's punishing themselves, blaming themselves, on giving up. People who accumulate wealth, fail, analyze, adjust, and move on. Every well-understood mistake leaves you better prepared. Those who are afraid to fail play small forever. Another fundamental thing is choosing better environments. If everything around you normalizes debt, impulsive spending, and endless complaining, that becomes the standard. Rich people change references, change conversations, change what they consider normal. It's not about thinking you're better. It's about protecting your direction. Take full control of your financial decisions. Stop outsourcing them. Understand where your money goes. Question it. Compare. Negotiate. Say no. Every conscious decision strengthens your confidence. And confidence completely changes how you act when opportunities appear. Protect your time. Protect your energy. Less distraction creates depth. Depth creates advantage. Advantage creates money. Accept the simple and liberating truth. No one is coming to save you. And that's great. Because when you understand that, you stop waiting and start building. Slowly sometimes, afraid many times, but always moving forward. Wealth is not an event. It's a consequence of repeated decisions made when no one is watching. One day, you realize that problems that used to paralyze you are now just details. And that's when life changes. If this video made sense to you, leave a like now, because that really helps the channel keep going. Subscribe so you don't miss the next videos, because here, the conversation is always real, with no empty promises. And if you made it this far, comment one word, so I know you watched until the end. Comment the word direction.